This is Anna from the Pop Prison Power Podcast, and this is the Geek World All-Stars Podcast Network.
Welcome to the continued podcast adventures of Superhero Speak.
But I think many of the people that love this character and that love superheroes in general have used these stories as inspiration to say, you know what, I'm going to do something good in the world. I'm going to make a difference like my hero when I was a kid.
That is my fondest memory of it, because when you're doing comic books, you want them to affect people, right? You want people to care. You want to strike emotions, and I knew that Clone Saga was striking a lot of emotions.
Can you imagine Pulp Fiction starring Goofy and Mickey Mouse?
I can totally imagine that.
I'm sure somebody's written that one.
Quarter pounder with cheese and France, Mickey. What? Boy ale with cheese, Mickey. Yeah, I can totally.
See?
I would watch the hell out of that movie.
Yes, I gladly sacrifice my progeny to you, almighty Marvel beast.
But Neil Adams is somewhere going, it's my time.
How do you measure success?
Hey everyone, you are listening to Superhero Speak, and I'm your host Dave.
Oh, and JD, I guess.
Yeah, John is off this week. He's on assignment. But filling in for him, of course, again, we have our good friend, fellow podcaster, and review writer, D Square. How you doing, sir?
Hey, I'm doing great, guys. How you guys been?
Can't complain. Well, I can, but no one listens.
Absolutely. Exactly.
How have you been, JD, since we last spoke?
I think I'm fine.
Anything new? How's the world of writing going in your books?
I had my best week. One of my best weeks ever. My 99-cent sale that I talked about last time went swimmingly.
Cool.
Who has book 3 of their book outsell all the others in 1 week? It's pretty awesome. It's going good. It's going good. I can't complain. We're going to try a new series of stuff. Books that I wrote before this last set, so I've gone back, done some rewrites, and we'll see how a new genre treats me. So that's the plan for the next month, next 8 to 9 weeks.
So I'm kind of curious, as a creative person and a writer, do you go back and look at this older stuff you wrote, and you're like, do you still like it, or do you think it's crap compared to your newer stuff?
Everything I do is bad. In my mind. That's why I have to put on a new face every time I talk about it. Like salesman JD has to be different than writer JD. I know I can't read my own work because I just want to go back and edit it.
Right.
So I don't know. I'm one of those guys. I have a hard time reading fiction more than once. And that's just me, and not just myself, but anybody's. Like, I know people like, I've read this book like 6 times. I can't do that. I can do it with like a biography or not a piece of nonfiction. I can reread multiple times, but an actual like a book, I'm not the kind of person that can just reread it. I don't know. I'm not wired that way. Huh. So I'll be honest. I've never read anything of my own for entertainment, mainly because I know what happens.
Well, yeah, that's true too.
Yeah. Spoilers. Oh wait.
And then I just second guess everything I did.
Yeah. I can definitely see that. When I used to write music, I would go back and change stuff over and over again.
Because it's never done. It's just you have to turn it in.
Exactly. Yeah, it's when I've been in bands, we would set a recording date, a date we were going to go to the studio and start writing, trying to make that date, because we knew if we didn't have a date, we would just keep changing the song forever.
And that's the difference between being a professional and being an artist. Like an artist, you can keep tweaking stuff to your heart's content, but like when you take the view of I'm going to do this professionally, shit's got to get done.
Yep.
You know, and I've made that decision. Like I'm gonna be a pro, so I got to keep on cranking. You know.
Oh yeah. And how about you?
We'll see. Look, you got George Lucas, who kept tinkering with the original trilogy. People got pissed off at him after he did the prequels, and then now people are pissed off at the people that make his movies now and want him to do them again. So
isn't that weird how we've come full circle on this from like '83? But I get that. I get you look back at your stuff and all you see is the flaws.
Yeah.
You know, so that's why like you have to like divorce yourself. Like I'll never reread any of my books ever.
Yeah, I can dig it.
And how about you, Don? Anything new and exciting since the last time we spoke?
Not really, other than the developments we'll talk about later in the podcast. Of course, Super Bowl was yesterday.
Yep.
And cool thing about it is I graduated from high school, Clearview High School. And so Anthony Hitchens, number 53, linebacker for the Kansas City Chiefs, also went to my alma mater. So it was kind of really exciting to see that yesterday. And all the commercials, although Disney stuff was cooler than anything else in the Groundhog Day. But yeah, that's about it. Firing up the air fryer. Good stuff. Good game, though. I'm a big football guy, and that was just it was a really good game. Shanahan lost that game.
Yeah. It's funny you mentioned that. Like, number 56 from Kansas City Chiefs, Ben Neiman, went to Sycamore, which is the neighboring high school of our high school where I coach at.
Nice. Yeah, that's cool to see that.
It's funny because a lot of people from Philly wanted Kansas City to win because they wanted Andy Reid to get the win. And it's funny. Yeah. It's funny, as bitter as a sports town as we can be, we still wanted to see Andy Reid do well.
Yeah, I think everybody did. I really do. I think he's just been there, and he's one of the best, and he hasn't got one yet. And of course, Belichick's gotten 6.
Yeah.
So it's good to see Andy Reid get someone else long-standing coach get one.
Agreed.
All right. So movie stuff and Marvel stuff aside, what was your favorite commercial?
Groundhog Day.
Yeah.
Bill Murray's epic, and just as soon as he popped up, I was just laughing.
Yeah, I like that they got a lot of the actors from the movie to come back too. How about you, JD?
Didn't watch.
You didn't watch?
Had to write.
Oh my goodness!
Wow, super elite.
And you're more the sports guy than we are.
I fool people because I coach and I played at a high level, but I don't know. I would much rather participate than watch. I was always that guy. I don't know. It was easy for me. I put Andy to bed and got to work.
Cool. Well, I recommend not only the Groundhog Day commercial if you haven't seen it yet.
I saw it on YouTube.
Okay.
People were talking about it. It was awesome.
The Bryan Cranston.
Yeah.
Mountain Dew Zero Sugar commercial where it was an homage to The Shining.
Yeah.
Oh, God. Okay, give me a minute.
And we were just talking about Bryan Cranston as Professor X and, if his, what his range was. And I was, watching, yeah, see, he can do all sorts of...
Yeah, that was just, I felt like that commercial was made just for me. As JD's trying to find it to watch it.
I'm watching it.
This makes for great podcasting, right?
Yeah.
You guys keep talking. I'm just watching.
Live reaction.
Okay.
This is awesome.
And another good one, of course, is The World Just Needs a Snickers.
Okay, that was phenomenal.
Yes, it was. It's so funny, too, because, I don't know if it was always been this way, but a lot of times the commercials only get aired once anymore, too, during the Super Bowl,
Just so expensive.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
What does it cost now for a Super Bowl commercial?
It was $1 million over a decade ago. So
yes, it's got to be $1.5 million right now, if not $2 million.
Yeah.
And you have to come hard too. You can't just put something out there. You got to go hard. So not only are you paying for the price of just the airtime, but then you're making a mini show, a mini trailer.
Right. I think the only ones who really had multiple commercials were the Tide ones. They went all out, and it made me wonder how many people use Tide.
Yeah, everybody got to use Tide. Everybody does laundry.
Right. But Tide specifically,
Yeah, no, it's coming from a family of 5. When we go into the grocery store, it's there's Tide, and hey, there's this cheaper brand.
Right.
But isn't Tide the market, the industry leader?
Yeah, I think it is.
I'm sure it is.
Yeah, I think Tide is the Coke of the detergent world. Coke.
Well, because
not cocaine.
Well, because if you refer to Tide as a product, everyone knows exactly what you're talking about.
Right. Yeah, no, that's true.
It's like a Kleenex or, it's just one of those brands that get that instant pop.
All right. Cool. So that's enough sports talk. We may have lost some listeners on that. So let's move on to everyone's favorite topic, our social media madness for this week. We just have a couple ones real quick.
I like social media madness. That's how I got on. But I understand, Jay.
Oh, I know. There's been a lot of good things that have come out of it, but it's kind of my gimmick. That's
so
a rail on it.
So we had talked about Hugo Weaving and him not being in the Avengers movies and not returning for Matrix 4. And I only included it because it was such an odd response, but our friends over at the Gorilla Brain podcast said, because he's a man of purpose, and without purpose, he could not exist. It is purpose that created us, purpose that connects us, purpose that pulls us, that guides us, that defines us. It is the purpose that defines, purpose that binds us.
Could have thrown some more periods in there. It's a really long sentence.
I said that was dramatic, and of course their response was the entire sequel movies were enough. I'm sure he's referring to the Matrix movies.
Yeah, I'm not a Matrix nerd by far. I'm not because I really don't like it. But I believe that's from like the third movie, and Neo and Agent Smith are fighting, and so. But I don't know for sure. It just sounds like that conversation.
Because who's seen Matrix Revolutions more than one time?
Right, certainly. Right.
Not me.
Not I.
And I saw Matrix several times in the theater. The first one.
It was awesome.
Yes.
Oh, of course. My only problem is they kept asking, what is the Matrix after the first movie? And I was like, no, it explains exactly what it is. I don't understand the question. Yeah. That's the only thing I didn't get.
It's trying to keep a marketing through line, I think. Of course, we also talked about them canceling Howard the Duck and the Dazzler cartoons before they even got made. To which our new friends John and Kevin respond, "Hell yeah, I'm pissed."
Totally unrelated, but would the Dazzler cartoon have been like the Bo Derek style, like Disco Dazzler?
No, I doubt it.
Bo Derek.
How would you
she was based on Bo Derek.
Right, no, and I know it was, but how could you make that work in 2020?
Oh, that's a legit question. I have no idea. But I mean, like, what else is? I mean, Dazzler is such like a piece of time and space kind of character. Like, and they've kind of never really got a footing on her since Disco died. She's the Disco Dazzler. Like, what the hell else do you do? I mean,
she has a following.
Oh, they all do. Yes, you're right about that. Yeah. But what do you do? I mean, like, when there's so many different when there's not like a firm foot of the character, like, what do you do? I literally have no idea.
You cast Taylor Swift and whatever.
Well, that'd work.
Little girls will watch it. And,
I yield the floor to you, sir. That's a good answer.
Just with a house of two girls, I'm telling you. Oh, Taylor Swift, okay.
No, that would do it. That's a great answer. Fair enough.
All right. Well, that's the secret, having young girls at home. We'll have to tell John to let his out of the basement. And then,
ouch.
And then one of the other things that we talked about, of course, was our first look at the costume of U.S. Agent in the upcoming Falcon Winter Soldier miniseries. And Anakin's lightsaber said, "If so, I'm all in." If so, I don't know. These are leaked set pictures, so I don't see how that could not be the costume. James Grogan said, "I'd rather see the white stripes in there too."
The band?
No, because he only has the red stripes on his shirt. He doesn't have the red and white stripes like the comic book.
Oh, I thought he wanted Jack White to show
up. And John Smith, I don't think that's his real name, said, "Looks fine to me." So, I think people are digging it. I can't wait to see it. We'll talk more about that show a little later on. Mm-hmm. But I think the most important thing we need to talk about is we did pose a question to our audience last week. We had said, what comic book creator would you like to see tackle Squirrel Girl?
Did I demand you put a poll up for this? This sounds like something I would have said.
I believe so.
Yes.
Okay, I couldn't remember if it sounded familiar.
So during our conversation, of course, we threw out Alan Moore because I believe we were talking about him, and I also threw out Frank Miller, and then Todd McFarlane just because I was thinking of other weird writers in the comic book industry, and then you threw out Grant Morrison.
Because he's awesome.
So we actually got quite a few votes on this, and coming in last place was Alan Moore at 15.9%. Second place is Frank Miller at 18.7%.
It's my choice.
Todd McFarlane, I was shocked, got as many as he did.
26. I agree. Who would want to see a Todd? I have no idea what that would even
Yeah, okay, great. I was thinking, like, what don't I know? Because I don't understand that at all. Okay, great.
26.2%. And then finally, Grant Morrison got the overwhelming majority at 39.3% of the vote.
I told you.
And then, of course, we had some responses on the poll. Ghost of the Stratosphere said none, ? Ocho Duro Parley Hour podcast said Grant, of course. Random Randy Savage said, man, this was like, I don't want any of this, but gun to my head, I liked what Grant did with Flash.
You, sir, need to read more Grant Morrison comics.
Yes.
Everyone needs to read more Grant Morrison comics, actually.
House of D, my vote went to Frank Miller because I want Squirrel Girl to say, I'm the goddamn Squirrel Girl. And I said, that's what I want. Well, that's what we want, but, I meant me.
Yeah.
And Ziggy said a Grant Morrison Squirrel Girl story would be so perfect. Also, the Contrarians, they're another podcast, I believe. Yes. Retweeted our poll and said, I guess if we had to go by whose work I've liked the most and more consistently, more. But who knows what that'd look like?
It's true.
Awesome.
It's true.
So yeah, Grant Morrison. So now we have to imagine what a Grant Morrison Squirrel Girl would be like.
So JD, what would you say is his best? Since you recommend going.
My favorite Grant Morrison book is We Three.
Okay.
That one makes me cry. It's funny. I said I couldn't read fiction. I've read We Three 3 or 4 times, and every time I get a little teary-eyed at the end. It's the incredible journey of cyborgs.
Right.
Yeah. Let me think. I don't know. I always go back to the beginning with him, and that would be his Doom Patrol run.
It's great stuff.
Yeah. And even he gave us Damian Wayne.
Yeah. I've said it on the show that he is my favorite Batman writer. Like I love his run on Batman.
Well, because he said this before, and you can see it in his writing, is he takes the entire history of Batman into consideration and makes that part of what the character that he writes. Where some are just like, oh, they take this idea and create their own character, or they don't necessarily believe the stuff from the 70s happened, or the really early stuff. But I think that all shapes the character, right?
I agree.
Yeah, absolutely.
I really liked his All-Star Superman, where he was able to take the Superman that everybody kind of complains about, the Silver Age Superman, the super powerful Superman, and works with that character and delivers like probably one of the top 10 all-time Superman stories, if not top 5. He's awesome.
All right. I think that we should demand that. We should write Marvel and demand that they make this story happen.
Let's get it going. We should hashtag it something. Hashtag Grant Morrison Squirrel Girl at Marvel.
All right. You heard us, listeners. Let's make that happen.
Squirrel Morrison.
There you go. There it is. Yep. That's better.
All right. So, since this was a success, is there what's the next good question to ask our audience?
Well, that was spur of the moment, man. We gotta let it evolve.
We gotta let it evolve. All right.
Yeah, let's see where the show takes us. Unless something else has an idea, because I have none.
The only idea I have is who draws the worst feet, and that would be Rob Liefeld, me, Rob Liefeld.
Someone's gonna tweet this, and he's gonna get super pissed and sick his Liefeld bots on us. So that'll be interesting. At least Social Media Madness will be fun next week.
Huh. Well, wait a minute. That might get us noticed more. Anyway.
Go for it.
All right. Well.
Let hell rain down with a fire upon thee.
Infamous is still famous.
That's true.
Yeah.
You're in.
That's right.
Well, boys and girls, if you are like Don and you enjoy the social media madness, don't forget to follow us on Twitter at Superhero Speak or Instagram, also at Superhero Speak, or Facebook.com/Superhero Speak. Comment on our show, comment on our posts, and we will be sure to include you in our next episode. And speaking of social media, if you search for the hashtag GW All-Stars on Twitter, you will find some of the greatest podcasts in the known universe. And of course, they are the Geek World All-Stars. They include the Pop Prism Power Podcast, So Wizard, Fans on Patrol, Gorilla Brain Podcast, Cult 45, and yours truly, Superhero Speak. And
you should just record that one time and loop it into every show, because it's always a challenge to get them all out.
But that's part of it. I'm challenging myself to remember all 6 of us. But check those guys out. You won't be disappointed. And also, I'd like to announce that we are now also available on firstcomicsnews.com. It's a great comics news website, and you guys should check it out. They have articles, bunch of articles posted every day. And now our podcast is available. So
nice.
On that note, boys and girls, we're going to take a quick commercial break, and we'll be right back.
After these messages, we'll be right back.
All right, we're back. You guys ready to talk about some news?
Oh, yeah.
So the first one, we were hinting at this earlier. Of course, during the Super Bowl, we got our first look at the new Marvel shows coming to Disney Plus: WandaVision, Falcon Winter Soldier, and Loki. So what did you like? Now, we didn't get a lot. It's real quick clips, but what did you guys think?
I loved it, but I have a 3-year-old that just snuck in, so I have to go deal with this. Pause. I shall return.
Well, while we're waiting for JD to come back, Don, what did you think?
I think it all looks awesome. The Loki stuff, I don't know. I'm not a Loki person. Tom Hiddleston made him popular with the ladies, and that's why he's as prevalent as he is. The Winter Soldier and Falcon show was glad to see that the Winter Soldier is going to remove the floppy wig, and he's going to go a little bit tighter on the haircut. Actually, look like Bucky. But so at first I'm just really kind of mad, right, that Sam Wilson's not going to get to be Captain America. But just with these clips now, I can see, since I saw him, throw the shield, it's like, I'm pretty sure I'm going to get to see it happen. So that's actually really, that's what's exciting me about that show. And so the clips they show just kind of enhance that. The WandaVision stuff, they've piqued my interest with, saying the House of M. I know you guys discussed on, previous podcast. So again, the clips that were kind of showing you like, oh man, yeah, they really might do something crazy like that. So, I'm already a Disney Plus subscriber, but if you're not and you're a Marvel fan, I'm sure those clips, made you, okay, maybe it's time to seriously consider this. And I say you should. There's a lot on there, particularly if you have kids.
I have kids. I had to go kick him out of the room.
So yeah, I agree with what you said. The Loki stuff, they don't really very little for Loki, but
I feel like I know less about Loki than I did before.
It felt like they're definitely trying to give the he's a villain vibe again.
That would actually be cool and refreshing. But I don't want it to be ambiguous. I want full on he slaughtered people. He's bad. No, anti-hero BS. So that's cool. I would respect that if that's where they go with it.
Right. And then, of course, the WandaVision stuff, it's real quick flashes, but, I mean, you guys noticed she was in a bunch of different sets from old sitcoms, especially the Brady Bunch house at one point.
It was the Brady Bunch house. It was the house from Family Ties.
Roseanne,
and it looked like I think either Make Room for Daddy or Leave It to Beaver. Yep. It looks like, and that might be, it's pretty obvious that she's created this perfect world based on TV shows that she watched as a kid.
Right.
And did you catch Did you catch my favorite part is you catch when they're in the Family Ties one, there's 2 cribs and 2 pacifiers fly up into the air.
Uh-huh.
Getting the twins fired up. So excited.
Yeah, no, it's definitely going to be House of M time. But what about the fact, now, here's what I don't understand, so fill me in. Is this actually Vision or a Vision that she has made with her reality warping power?
I have no idea.
Okay, because he doesn't have like a gem where the gem was or anything in that black and white scene. It's just like, so yeah, whatever version we see certainly doesn't have any remnants of the Infinity Stone.
But Vision's a android, so he could be
right.
Back. I mean, who knows? I mean, I'm sure they're going to explain it magic, but
right. And yeah, you also don't get a lot of Falcon and Winter Soldier, though it is cool to him. Sam practicing with the shield. Like, I think that definitely sets a tone before you even see anything. Like, yes, he's trying to live up to Cap's reputation, which I appreciate, you know.
Yeah, that was really cool to see. Where was his wings, though? Like, I hope, like, does that mean something else? Like, they took those from him, too? I don't know.
Well, are they going to, here's a question. Are they going to do I can't think of his name. Spider-Man, not Peter Parker.
Miles Morales?
Miles Morales type thing where he's trying to live up to the legend of Steve Rogers, Captain America. You know, and
probably.
Yeah.
I'm sure, but I could also see him be realistic about, like, I don't have super soldier serum.
Right.
So I wonder if that's what they're going to do with the new Captain America. Like, if they're going to go exactly what's in the comics, or if they're going to spin it a different way.
Yeah, I don't know. We'll have to see. Well, we could also mention that the official synopsis for the shows came out. And I don't think they answer much more, but we can let people decide. So for the Falcon Winter Soldier show, it says, following the events of Avengers Endgame, Sam Wilson, Falcon, Anthony Mackie, and Bucky Barnes Winter Soldier, Sebastian Stan, team up in a global adventure that tests their abilities and their patience in Marvel Studios' The Falcon and the Winter Soldier. The all-new series is directed by Carrie Scogland. Malcolm Spellman is the head writer. Debuts on Disney Plus this fall. So yeah, it doesn't really tell you much more than what we already know.
That's some generic stuff, man.
Uh-huh. And then
somebody got paid to do that.
Someone got paid well to do that.
Hey, we just need 2 pages of the Falcon and Winter Soldier. Well, what else? No, that's it.
2 pages? That's like 2 sentences.
Yeah.
Some copywriter made a boatload. Knocked that off before lunch.
Wait, and then they also gave us this gem. Marvel Studios' WandaVision blends the style of classic sitcoms with the Marvel Cinematic Universe, in which Wanda Maximoff, Elizabeth Olsen, and Vision, Paul Bettany, 2 superpowered beings living in their ideal suburban lives, begin to suspect that everything is not as it seems. The new series is directed by Matt Shakman. Jack Schaefer is head writer. Debuts on Disney Plus this year. So there you go. Now, here's an interesting thing. The way this is written, and I know they're trying to not give anything away. But if they say begin to suspect that everything is not as it seems, as if both of them don't realize what's going on at first. So is the idea that Wanda created this world, but she didn't do it? Or she didn't do it consciously?
Well, that was kind of House of M, too. She doesn't really realize what she's done.
That's true. That is true. Interesting.
And Disassembled, too, was the same way. Wanda, you don't realize Wanda's the villain of Disassembled till the end.
Right. And then finally, in Marvel Studios' Loki, the Mercurial villain? Loki? Mercurial villain Loki, Tom Hiddleston resumes his role as the God of Mischief in a new series that takes place after the events of Avengers Endgame. Kate Herron directs and Michael Whedon is head writer. Debuts on Disney Plus next year, 2021.
I know less about this show the more they talk about it.
Yeah.
Yeah, because also the idea that it takes place after Endgame, even though we all assumed it had to do with Loki, the creating this, running off with the scepter and creating that split, which would mean it would take place after the first Avengers movie. But who knows, right?
That could be an epic show, though, now that I think about it. But yeah, it doesn't sound like they've written it. They're probably waiting to see how Falcon and Winter Soldier does in WandaVision and kicking into gear because it writes itself. But
I can't wait for WandaVision. The more I think about this stuff, the more excited I get for WandaVision.
Have we gone too far? Like, just comic booky as far as movies? Like, have we pushed too far, though, at this point? Like, we had Thanos, the magic gems, the time travel, and reality warp. Now we have a reality warping witch that goes through different eras of sitcoms. Like, have we gone too far, or do you think people just will still be with it and dig it?
Well, I think because in this case where you're serving an audience that wants it.
Yeah.
If they put this on the screen, maybe. But I guess the real answer to that question comes with Doctor Strange, because we already know that she's the villain for the new Doctor Strange movie.
Yeah.
But that was a movie that gave us Dormammu, you know?
Yeah,
Right.
absolutely.
So I don't know if there is too far. I really don't. Like, it's all about, that's the cool thing about comic movies. I put this in my newsletter today, that a superhero story can be anything.
Absolutely.
Like, it's a framing device. It's not a genre. You know, it could be horror, it could be mystery, it could be noir, it could be romance. You know, you just put people in masks.
Right. Which is it's funny because I think that's the problem with early superhero movies is it was treated like a genre as opposed to a framing device, and now we've learned that no, you know, like it could be a spy thriller, it could be a heist movie. It could be a World War I or World War II epic.
It could be space opera.
Right.
Yeah. There is no limit, and that's, I think, was what's cool about it. Now, eventually the market will say, okay, we've had enough. But for now, man, it's like the 90s all over again. Beat that horse till it dies.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, that's a question we've also asked on this show many times. When do we think it's going to die? What's going to take for this to, like, burst?
When all the nerds die. I'm about 40, so I got about, I could say 20, 30 years left maybe. So until the people with the money die and the people that aren't interested anymore have the money.
I think that I can speak for my little guy is that he's absolutely fallen in love with these worlds. And he doesn't even watch any of the movies yet. He just loves any and all superheroes, you know, or anything that could be close to a superhero. So I think Marvel's doing a really good job of getting the next generation into these things. And there's no reason why this can't be the new cowboy film. You know, maybe at some point the popularity will wane a little bit, but they're always going to be westerns.
Yeah, I agree. I definitely agree. It's they've made all these legacy characters, and they have marketed successfully to the younger generation, and they do change things. But even the people that are mad about them changing stuff, we still throw money at them. So yeah, they get the best of both worlds.
Yeah, I think I agree with that concept too, JD, where the idea of 4 and 5 of these movies coming out a year might stop, but you might get to a point where every 2 years there's still one that comes out, a superhero movie of some kind.
And they got to start making bad ones. Like, I don't think we've gotten a lot of bad ones, to be honest with you. Definitely not on the Marvel side.
Yeah, I think there's a bad one coming out this weekend, but that's another story.
Oh.
There is? What's coming out this weekend? I've gone stupid. What I totally have no idea what you're talking about.
Is it this weekend or is it next weekend? Harley Quinn.
I thought it was this weekend, but
I actually liked the new trailer. I think it looked okay.
Really?
I thought it looked okay. It actually made me want to see it.
This is shameful that DC's best representation in the movies is Harley Quinn. I'm not gonna get into a rant. I'm gonna put that one back. But that's
no, go for it.
I'm just, I get it, Batman, that's cool, great, but I can't believe we have all these great characters, the Green Lantern, a proper Superman that's already been done, Brandon Routh's already there, Wonder Woman, thankfully that's caught on, so that there's some sanity there, but I cannot believe Harley Quinn, someone who didn't even originate in the comics, is now like the friggin' flagship to DC. That's just disgraceful when you think of all the awesome Green Lanterns, not even a Green Lantern. There's multiple really cool Green Lanterns, and there we go. But Harley Quinn's the flagship. What's your superpower, Harley Quinn? Oh, being a crazy psycho. Wonderful. DC, everyone. Thank you.
To be fair.
And I'm not fair. I know I'm not fair. Please don't understand. I'm not rational. I know.
No, it's like she's the only one of them that they've really done well, with the exception of Wonder Woman.
Hey, it's not her fault. It's not even the character's fault. I get it.
They screwed up. They've dropped so many balls going back to the Green Lantern movie, which should have been awesome, but wasn't. You know?
Well, that's what CGI costumes get you.
Yeah, I didn't even mind it. I'll be honest with you.
I didn't care for it.
You know what? My biggest complaint about that movie is really the first Green Lantern movie. We've got Parallax. All right, great. There's no warm up there. So,
yeah, too soon. I agree.
Yeah, no, I think they should have just made it a
training day in space.
Yeah, training day in space, and then a setup for Sinestro for the second one.
Yeah, because the dude Sinestro was friggin' awesome.
Mark Strong, they cast the right guy. They cast. The big problem is they hired a director who made quirky little thriller type movies, who never worked with special effects, who really didn't like the character. You can see he didn't like nor understand the character all that much. It was the wrong guy. And Marvel goes out with a similar concept and hires James Gunn to make Guardians of the Galaxy, and the world falls in love with some obscure ass characters. You know?
That is very interesting, actually. But I think it's because a lot more people know of the Green Lantern Corps. That's why I enjoy the Avengers movies way more than the X-Men movies, because I know more about X-Men, so I know more of what's different, or at least really screwed up, versus Avengers was no, this is great. They look exactly like the comics, and that's all I care about.
Do you think X-Men is a harder property to translate to film than Avengers?
No.
You don't think so?
No, because of the school, because of the romance dynamic. There's no romance in Avengers.
That's true.
But with X-Men, you've got Scott and Jean, or if you're reading Hickman's run, Scott, Jean, and Wolverine. You've got Gambit and Rogue, which I actually did a video about on my channel. Anyway, so you've got this soap opera type element with the X-Men, where it can seriously be this teenage romance drama thing, and then oh crap, Sentinels, everyone,
But aren't the most classic X-Men stories not where they're teenagers? Aren't the best X-Men stories where they're adults? Because when you look at the if we base everything we know and love about X-Men is really rooted in Claremont, and the Claremont stuff, they're I don't want to say late, well, they're deep. I don't know, deep in their 20s, but they're in their 20s, clearly, with the exception of Logan.
Yeah, exactly. But you have Kitty. There's always that teenage component with Jubilee, Kitty, and that's where you get that anchor. But I don't know. I mean, I'm no writer. I'm not even creative. So it just doesn't seem that it would be that hard.
Let me throw another theory at you. Is that because I've always saw the Avengers as kind of like Justice League, where they're the big guns of the universe, right? They handle the biggest threats, high concept stuff. Whereas X-Men is really all about the minutia of it. Would X-Men work better? If say these Disney Plus shows work, because I think they picked some very safe picks to try these Disney Plus shows, right? One season things, test the water, see if this works. And in this world, aren't we better off with a 10-season X-Men show?
I think that there should be that, absolutely. But when it comes to, oh crap, here's the Brotherhood of Evil Mutants, here's Apocalypse, Dark Phoenix, you're gonna have to do these things in arcs.
I agree. That's why I think the show could be better if they had a series. This season was about. I'm sorry, we've kicked Dave off his own show.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
No. I was gonna throw another concept out at you. Why are we trying to group all of the X-Men into one set of movies or one TV show? Yeah. That's part of the problem too. There's so many characters that they've had over the years. And yes, they've had stories where they were teens. They had stories where they were adults. I kind of think part of the problem of the earlier X-Men movies, even though they were great at the time and they took it seriously and everyone, enjoyed them, they didn't know what they wanted to be. Cause, they're all hanging out in the school and there's kids who are learning and then there's adults who are hanging out who are this team that go out, and it just seemed like a weird dynamic,
That's Jim Shooter. It's because Jim Shooter wanted the school to be the focus, whereas Chris Claremont was really into like Don's talking about the soap opera elements of it all.
Right.
You know, so, yeah.
But you could separate that. You could have a show that's all around the school and is like a teen angsty drama thing, and then have the movie about the team going out and fighting the big threats.
I think that's what the comics are doing right now so well. Because unlike back in the 90s where you had all these different X titles, but to understand this coherent storyline, you had to read all of them.
Right.
Now in the Dawn of X, it's, okay, here's X-Force. This is X-Men CIA. Here's Marauders. This is what they do. Do they cross over a little bit? A little bit. But otherwise, you've got the New Mutants, who they're just going around in space and, going after their friend. So they have done that in the comics because they have the super serious overall arcing, right? The current X-Men run right now is not a coherent story. All 5 issues have dealt with something differently. The first issue dealt with the Summers and what they're doing. Second issue introduces you, spoiler alert, to a child of one of Apocalypse's former Horsemen of War. Okay, then it jumps to the Golden Girls beating up the X-Men. Okay, then issue number 4 is Apocalypse, Magneto, and Xavier at some World Summit. So they are layering it in a similar fashion currently in the comics. And so to JD and your point, Dave, they could have it like that. You can have the New Mutants or the more high school element in a show, and then have a romantic drama, and then have your blockbuster space battle CGI fight movie. Like, I think it would work better in a tiered way like that.
I had to back up for a second. I haven't read an X title in a while.
Okay.
Did you just say the Golden Girls were beating up the X-Men?
Yes. Okay, they're not actually the Golden Girls, but they're these evil, I don't even say evil, but they're these botanists. And a lot of what the X-Men do, by the way, is they've got Krakoa, and they make these seeds that'll extend human life, cure all mental disease, blah, blah, blah. We give you these, you leave us alone. Well, these human botanists that are all old, wanted to get it, so they find a way to go to Krakoa, and Cyclops, Emma Frost, and not Black Tom, but Spaz and Shaw find them, try to stop them, and they get beat.
All right.
I
want Alan Moore to write a Golden Girls X-Men crossover.
Two things. We were watching Teen Titans Go this weekend, my son and I, and the Teen Titans steal the Justice League's clothes.
Yes.
Cyborg takes the ring and creates the Golden Girls.
Yes.
That made me think about that. Sorry. 2, Don, you have done more to sell me on X-Men in the few times we've talked about it than I think Marvel has in the last decade. Should I be reading this Hickman stuff? Because every time you talk about it, I get excited.
Well, the Powers of X in House of X, Powers of 10, it sets up this whole crazy new reality. And so now there they are, the mutants, they're on Krakoa, everybody's good, Apocalypse and Exodus, Magneto, Sebastian Shaw, they're all getting along. But now this Dawn of X books has splintered off. The New Mutants and stuff, New Mutants, Fallen Angels, the X-Force is really good, the Marauders is okay. They're just playing around in this big sandbox right now. There's no one direction. Other than, again, spoiler alert, you're seeing some of the quote-unquote reformed villains kind of do some shady stuff. So there's that layer too. So it's really just a big sandbox right now of, hey, we can revive mutants and we're going to make more mutants. But there's still some human people that are coming after the mutants. And, oh, by the way, we're going to arrange people's deaths. So if you like just playing around in a sandbox of a world, yes, I'm getting a little annoyed because I want a coherent storyline, and there's really, out of all the books right now, there's one coherent storyline. The rest is everything just I don't know, let's just have fun.
Hickman, so is he kind of guiding it? Is he writing all these books, or have they got other people writing?
He's writing the main line, and he's writing or heavily influencing New Mutants. Everything else is done by different writers.
Okay.
But yes, he's the Feige of the X-Men universe, though.
Interesting.
Obviously, he's playing this really long game. So, stuff that I'm annoyed with right now, 15 issues from now are going to be like, oh, wow, okay, there's that. So, like, they literally introduced a second Krakoan island, and they came together and, like, started making, like, Whoopi, and that's the island.
The two islands?
Yeah. There's Krakoa and Akaro. They used to exist, and back in the day, Apocalypse had to fight off these creatures that came from the earth, and in order to do that, he had to, like, throw asunder the other land, and so Krakoa was always sad, but now it's back somehow. And, yeah, a lot of weird stuff going on.
Sold, man. Shoot me a DM later. Let me know where I have to start. I need you to point me in a direction and shepherd me, because
Powers of X and House of 10. Get the trades.
This is cool. What do you think, Dave? Am I on one of this? Do you think this is stupid, or did I lose my mind?
I'm just picturing, what was it? What was that Disney movie with
Moana?
Moana meets Golden Girls meets the X-Men. I don't know what's going on anymore. Yeah. No, I maybe I'll jump back in. It's been a long time. I actually was never a huge X-Men fan. I have a lot of the main issues, the big ones, and was reading it when Jim Lee was doing the art, but
I'll give it major props. The big joke about the X-Men, I know comics in general, but really the X-Men is like, oh, if they're dead, just wait 5 minutes. So Hickman has literally written that into their mythos now. Yep, you damn right. You kill us, we'll just revive them. They'll have the same memories and everything. So, yeah.
It's true. Happens all the time.
And it's cool, and they are getting into the minutia. Like, they noticed, because they've got data files, too, in these comics. Like, it'll stop the story and just give you a bunch of data. And so, like, they revived these mutants that died, like, 20 years ago and noticed that they were kind of freaking out a little bit. So then they started, okay, well, we'll revive 2 at the same time that died in the same time frame, so they can make sure and help each other adjust. And, like, so it's really detailed stuff. Like, the world is still just building.
Pet Sematary.
Oh, yeah.
If you resurrected Rose and Blanche wasn't there, she would freak out.
First of all, right. Rose is still alive. Don't put that bad juice.
Sorry. Yeah, you're right. Wait. Blanche, Rose,
Dorothy, and Sophia.
Dorothy, that's what I was trying to think of. Yeah, and Sophia. Okay, so if you resurrected Sophia and Blanche wasn't there, she'd freak out.
Man,
Sophia would probably be okay with it. Sophia was there for comic relief.
I don't know. Blanche would just come onto the X-Men.
If you would have told my little kid self, hey, that boring show with the old ladies on it, that's going to be referenced for another 30 years, I would have never believed it.
Man, confession, we watched that show growing up, and even as a kid, I loved Golden Girls.
Really?
I thought that was, I don't know, I just liked older people sitcoms as a kid, and watching it now, it holds up great.
Yeah, no, it does.
Not the outfits, but the comedy. The comedy holds up so well.
That's awesome.
And it is one of those shows you appreciate it more the older you get.
Yeah, because you get older, you start knocking on the door of those golden years.
Yep.
Speaking of comedy, I don't want to derail us anymore. Just if you don't watch SNL, you gotta watch the one with Adam Driver. He is so funny. I hate SNL nowadays, but watch that stuff. You will not be disappointed.
He's talented.
Did you guys watch the Eddie Murphy episode?
No, I didn't.
Yeah. That Gumby stuff was crazy. I could not believe they allowed him to go off like that.
It's Eddie Murphy. What are you going to say? What could you possibly say or do to Eddie Murphy?
Nothing at this point.
I guess, because, there wasn't even a stink about it.
Oh, my God, yeah. And the Mr. Robertson's Neighborhood was really good, too. I'm going to teach you a new word. Gentrification.
Oh.
So anyway, comic book stuff. Oh, yeah.
Hey, we've been talking
about comics. Yeah. This is the deepest we've gone on straight comics in a long time.
Yeah, no, it's true. It's true. But But I mean, it is important because, again, I think you brought up, Don, the point that, like, are they getting too weird and too into the weeds with the comic stories? But these are stories that, millions of people have read over decades, and they've held up for a lot of people. So it's a good source to keep pulling from, which I also think is part of DC's problem too, is that they seem too quickly to try to pull the recent popular stuff.
Yeah, I agree.
They do an origin movie, and then it's like, okay, now we got to do Flashpoint. It's like, well, wait, there are other good Flash stories before you get to Flashpoint.
Much better stories than Flashpoint.
Yeah. So I mean, it's kind
of a spot of no return. Also, it's like,
oh yeah.
Shouldn't we care about the world before we destroy it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, maybe Harley Quinn will make us care about it this weekend.
Oh boy.
Margot Robbie is a treasure, I'll have you know.
My son said we should go see the Sonic movie to protest that horrible Harley Quinn movie.
I have a feeling you'll have a theater all to yourselves to stage your protest.
Possibly.
All the money they spent to please the fans?
Just gonna say that, and no one's gonna watch it.
Hey, I don't mind. It'll be quiet.
I mean, seriously, like, think about how much flack they got, and, like, but I mean, it's gonna get killed, right, at the box office? Like, there's no buzz to this movie.
No, there isn't. At all. I haven't seen any online buzz for it. Yeah.
All because you didn't hire a guy for $100,000 to tell you, no, that's not right. No, I know Sonic. You gotta make it like this. Okay.
I'm telling you, if they wanted this to be a blockbuster, they would have got Jaleel White to come back and do the voice.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah. Just like he did back in the cartoon.
Yep.
He was in a Super Bowl commercial, actually.
He was in a commercial? I don't remember. Which one? Because
he was on it for a second or two, and I can't remember the product, but it flashed a bunch of not like celebrities, but maybe ones that be nostalgic type. Cannot remember the commercial. I don't know why I can't remember it.
I don't know. The one that I was thinking of was the Walmart commercial with all the spaceships and coming down for the pickup.
Yeah.
And then it was Ted and Ted.
Yeah, how they get the rights for all that stuff, man?
I don't know, but I will say for the second they had the young Ted on, it looked really good.
Yeah, it really did. That's what I'm saying. Like they dumped money into that.
Yeah, Walmart's got some money. All right, let's get back to some Marvel stuff. So Disney had released a sneak peek at their animatronic Spider-Man for the upcoming attraction at Disneyland. And I have to say, I thought it looked really cool. It also made me wonder, why didn't they do this in the early movies instead of the bad CGI in some of the scenes?
Yeah.
What did you guys think of the footage?
It looks good.
Yeah, man, things are like, these kids nowadays don't know how good they have it, man. This is just like commonplace for them now.
Yeah.
They probably don't even care.
I was happy watching knockoff videos of Spider-Man versus the Japanese monsters. And I was happy about it. Or the terrible Nicholas Hammond VHSs. That pumped me up.
Absolutely.
They weren't terrible.
They were terrible.
Yeah, no.
The Bill Bixby Hulk was pretty good. Everything else was bad.
Yeah, except for when they had guest stars on the Bill Bixby Hulk. Like Thor and then Daredevil.
Those were movies. Those were special movies in the late 80s. And I was perfect age for that, so like I thought those were like art. Like when they brought Thor out, like it was like, it's like reading a comic book. Or when they had Daredevil, it made perfect sense that he would be dressed like a cat burglar for some reason. Like, I remember I convinced myself in Death of the Incredible Hulk that they would have Wolverine. No, there's no reason I should have thought it, but I was convinced that they would have Wolverine in that one. I was really disappointed they didn't.
You got in fights on the schoolyard, didn't you, about it?
Not for that. No one wanted to listen to me talk about the Hulk.
Oh, okay. A shame is that they're talking about this at Disneyland. I don't know if they can do it at Disney World yet, because again, there's that weird rights issue.
With Islands of Adventure, yeah.
Yeah. Ooh, pardon me. So, I guess I'll have to go out to California to see it.
For what it's worth, the Hulk at Universal Studios is a fantastic ride.
Yeah?
It's a great roller coaster, if you're into that sort of thing.
Maybe I will check that out. Speaking of cool things that didn't happen, apparently Josh Whedon wanted to have Captain Marvel in the Age of Ultron movie. So there's that big scene at the end where all the Avengers are there and Cap says, Avengers, and then they cut it off, which ticks me off to this day. That there was a stand-in to be Captain Marvel, since they had not cast anyone at that point. But it was decided to cut it at the last minute. Now the Ultimate box set has come out with all of the current Marvel movies, and it's just an extra that's included in it. And there's a photo from that floating online right now, and they don't even name the actress who was the stand-in for Miss Marvel, but Captain Marvel. Sorry.
She got a promotion.
Well, she was Miss Marvel before she was Captain Marvel.
That's what I said. She got a promotion.
Oh yeah. So what do you guys think if they had introduced her then? They probably wouldn't have gotten Brie Larson, obviously, at that point. It would have been probably would have been an complete unknown at that point.
I don't understand the context of this. Like, they just would have said it and she would have just magically been there?
Well, that's the whole thing, too. I don't get, like, why would she have just been there at the end? Like, where she came from, you know?
Well, yeah, it would have been like, oh, hey, oh, great. You mean you could have lifted the island back down safely and no one would have died, but you just showed up after that? Okay, great. Avengers Assemble. It would have made no sense.
Unless there was more to it than that, like, were there other heroes he wanted there to have this idea that other heroes have stepped forward to join the Avengers after Ultron, which would have been cool, but how they would explain, like you just said, Don, like the Earth was threatened and they didn't step up then. I don't know. It would have been weird. I guess that's why they decided not to do it.
Sometimes Feige's right.
Sometimes?
Most of it, yeah.
Man, not in that movie, though. In that movie was some bad examples. But, I mean, on this particular case, Feige was right.
You not a fan of Age of Ultron?
Well, this is one where we have all the weird, like, Thor takes a bath, you know?
Yeah.
It's okay.
Yeah,
I think it's the weakest. Yeah, I'll stand by this. I think it's the weakest of the Marvel Cinematic Universe. One of the top three, or bottom three.
Really? Like,
I do.
Not just the weakest Avengers movie, the weakest of all
it's
movies.
Definitely the weakest Avengers movie. I mean, like, I would put this one, Thor Dark World, and they're not bad, but I mean, like, of the Avengers movies, they're kind of weak.
And then Iron Man 2?
I know Iron Man 3. Iron Man 3 is dog shit.
I don't know. I like Iron Man 3 better than Iron Man 2.
I hate Iron Man 3.
See, I like Iron Man 2, but Iron Man 3, I was like, I don't know. Iron Man 3 was that I hated it when I first saw it, but once they come out with that short, Hail to the King, that explained their really, I was like, oh, okay, I'm fine with it now.
That's what we call covering your CYA. Cover your ass.
Really?
He's not the real Mandarin. Of course not. We played it this way. Yeah.
Yeah. Hey, I'll give it to him. That's versatility.
Yeah. They roll with the punches, and now we're getting the real Mandarin in the Master of Kung Fu movie. Can't wait.
Well, unless people don't like him, then it won't be the real Mandarin still.
That's true. That's a good point.
Yeah.
Mandarin-esque.
Now, it's a shame that John isn't here this week because this article I pulled just for him. Of course, we all know he has a long-time feud with Hans Zimmer.
Some would say an unhealthy obsession.
Some say. I think his therapist says that. But we know who the composer for the new Batman movie is, and that's Michael. Oh, I'm gonna mess this up. Giacchino?
I believe it's Giacchino.
Giacchino. Okay. And he, in a recent interview, was teasing his approach to the Batman movie. Now, this is also the composer who wrote the music for Spider-Man and Doctor Strange. So, he's not a stranger to superhero movies. But he had said in the interview, I'm actually kind of in the middle of that right now. I'm trying to figure out some things for Batman, and while I do have the theme written and we actually have recorded a version of the suite and everything so that Matt can have it while he's working and he can have it on set. The bones are there, but I still feel there's a little thing missing. It's like exactly something like that. I haven't quite found it yet, but I will. So this goes back to being an artist and being a professional, where he wrote something, but now he's still tweaking it while they're working on the movie.
To be fair, though, usually a composer doesn't do stuff until after they get the cut, like the working cut. So he's way ahead of the game.
Yeah.
So he can't, like, he's got plenty of time. They just started shooting this movie with its 17 villains.
Right. Which is kind of cool, though, in this 17 villains now.
Being hyperbolic.
Oh, okay. It is kind of cool, though, because I think it helps set a feeling on set when you have the music, you know?
Yeah, it's cool. It's unique. I dig it.
So
I have no clue how that works, so I appreciate your filling me in on that, JD. Because I was like, better get it done. But
so I know a little bit about a lot of things. Jack of all trades, master of none.
I understand.
So we haven't talked about this movie in a while, but are we still excited for it? Not excited for it?
I gotta see something.
Yeah.
I was, I had that original visceral reaction when I found out the guy from Twilight was going to be Batman, but then I read about how he actually thinks the Twilight fandom is also ridiculous and that the movie doesn't make much sense.
Sure.
I'm excited for it, though, because it's a good DC movie. Batmans are usually very good movies, not maybe all in hindsight, they don't all age well, but initially it's something that's pretty exciting. I don't know about all those villains, though, but this guy's composing. I mean, he did the Imperial suit on Rogue One. Let's see, he did like 3 songs on Up that my daughter just made me watch the other day.
Great movie.
Yeah, it's a bit on the depressing side, but it's so anyway, I mean, he did a couple incredible superhero stuff. He did The Incredibles. So, eventually they're going to be like, okay, do you want paid or not? And then they'll hand over what he's got. And I'm sure it's great. I'm sure what he thinks is trash, we think is absolutely wonderful. And Batman is a very, it just has a history of being able to put some really good music to it and have it be iconic. So, I just don't know much about the process, whether I thought the music goes after like you said, JD, but I didn't know they were doing something different, that they're going to give the music up on set to use that as inspiration. That could be.
All I want is something that I can hum. Because I don't think any superhero movie in the last, we're getting all these superhero movies, but I don't think we've gotten a lot of memorable soundtracks.
There is only one John Williams. Come on now. He can't do everything.
Well, that's true. I mean, Danny Elfman did some cool stuff. Like, I remember, maybe just for me and my age, but I still remember the Danny Elfman Batman theme, you know? I just want something that stands out. The Avengers one is kinda. Like,
that's what I was about to say, yeah.
You know, that one, but that can't tell you any others from any other movies.
The X-Men one, it was a big deal because they had the X-Men theme that they used. Then they stopped using it, and then they brought it back for Days of Future Past, and I didn't think it was iconic till I heard it again. I was like, oh, wait, yeah, the X-Men do have a theme. But, yeah, it's nowhere near as epic as...
Just think of the cartoon one, the da-da-da-da-da, dun-dun,
da-da-da-da. Yeah, that'll live on forever.
Oh, we never talked about it on the show, but, or did we? That apparently was stolen?
What?
The X-Men theme?
The X-Men cartoon theme.
From what?
From a show in, I think, Iceland, if I remember correctly, or Norway. It was like about a female police officer, and it's very, very, very close. Not the, obviously not the words, the music. And
some country where the copyright protection laws aren't strong.
Yes, and apparently the argument is that at the time the show was on, Marvel had sent people out to countries to shop these cartoons around and these concepts around. And so there is a possibility that they saw that show while they were traveling to sell it, and maybe they brought it back with them and said, hey, listen to this. It's kind of cool. But who knows? But yeah, that's...
Yeah, I see the articles from March of this past year. How did we not talk about this?
I don't remember. I don't know. I don't know if something else came up or if we had an interview that week or what, but yeah. Crazy. Yeah, it's crazy. Like, and if you listen to it, yes, you can hear it a little bit. It's got it's all different instruments too, but it does have that riff in it. So it's like, they should have got Zimmer to write it. John will always be with us in spirit. And on a last note for this week, so here's another one of those. Oh, go ahead.
Before you even read this story, I'm gonna give a preemptive. Go
ahead. Here's another one of those movies that just won't die. Of course, we all know that I'm a fan of The Crow comic book, and the original movie, and they were working on a movie, and Jason Momoa was set to play Eric Draven, the lead character in The Crow, and he walked away from the movie, and it seemed like it was dead at that point. But where is it? Apparently, the last Crow movie was released. Wait, hold on. I can't find it. I can't find what I'm looking for. But basically, they're saying it's back on. So
one more time.
It's back in development. Yeah, like, I don't know why they're so set on trying to push this through.
Because it made money at one time, and it's got nostalgia.
Well, it made money in 1994.
Yeah, that's all they need to make a movie today. Hey, this made money one time. Yeah, well, I'm with you. It's a terrible idea. It's absolutely terrible.
It is. It is an absolute terrible idea because the world in which that movie exists in is like timeless. Like, I don't know. To me, the movie actually still holds up just because it's so dark and gritty and there's no need for touch up there. So I don't want to see it brought into the modern era. I don't want to see people using cell phones in the movie or any other modern stupid freaking references. I hope Jason Momoa sticks to his guns because I really don't need that.
He walked. Yeah, I get what you're saying. Yeah, I agree. There's no reason. I mean, like, it's such a movie that the comic itself reeks of the mid '80s, and this one, the film just is so atmospheric and so like '90s, and it's just, I don't need to see that redone. Like, there's no reason for it.
Nothing will ever capture. Remember the main bad guys?
Yeah.
So it's about call, bang bang, call, fuck, I'm dead. Like, the dynamic between him and his sister. I can't remember the actor's name. He played Guy Gisborne in the Robin Hood thing there. But they're not going to be able to recreate it. I won't see it. Like, I will boycott it for sure.
Yeah, no, I mean, and yeah, I just can't see it working, Yeah, I have no idea why they're pushing this, but apparently Sony doesn't have ideas for movies.
I'm sure James O'Barr would like another paycheck. To be quite, I mean, I'm not taking a cheap shot, but I'm sure he would like to get paid again. So I get why the machine needs to keep rolling, but I just don't think it's a good idea.
Well, that's something I've wondered too. Like, James O'Barr, has he done anything besides The Crow?
I don't think so.
Yeah.
Don?
I've never seen anything else or heard anything else, but I'm not super movie buff guy. But yeah, that movie is the reason I bought and still have after all these years a black leather trench coat. People always, in the few occasions where I wear Neo, the Matrix. I'm like, no, The Crow, buddy. Get it right.
And he influenced Sting, one of my all-time favorite
absolutely.
One of my all-time favorite professional wrestlers.
Okay, so he's he worked at Caliber Comics. He's done some other stuff, but like nothing as big as The Crow.
I mean, it's culturally significant. I mean, it's very rare you create a multiple culturally significant stories in your life. So I'm not going to fault him for that, but that's what he gave to the universe. He gave us The Crow.
Right. Well, his first credit here is the Amazing Heroes swimsuit special. So
hey, you got to pay the bills.
Yeah. So that is a good question for our audience. do you want to see another Crow movie? Like,
there you go. There's your poll this week.
So if they were going to reboot any other franchises besides The Crow, what do you guys, what movies do you think are right for a reboot?
How about a Terminator reboot? We haven't seen that this week.
How about here's one. This will make everyone groan. Back to the Future.
Ugh.
Ooh, that's
like, does that even work in today's world?
Go back to the 80s, I guess. If Michael J. Fox is the Doc Brown of the film, I could live with that. No, I don't want it.
Right, he's got to be the Doc Brown, and they have to, like, well, what car would you pick today? Like a Tesla or something?
Like a Tesla, yeah.
Yeah.
Or the Tesla truck that looks like a box.
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely. It looks like a warthog from Halo. And then they have to, like, incorporate some, like, video game stuff, like they go to the future, and it's like Halo or COD, Modern Warfare or something.
When this baby hits 25 miles an hour. Because I don't think those things can get up to 88.
Oh yeah, they can. I can talk about electric vehicles all day. I love them.
Well, I meant that concept vehicle.
The Cybertruck.
Yeah. Then how about Weird Science?
Like the TV show or the movie? Because there was
the movie. The movie.
Okay.
Yeah. Wait, TV show?
Yeah, on a little old network you call USA. Yeah, there was.
It was on after wrestling.
Oh. Okay.
Yes, exactly.
Saw every episode.
Okay, so Weird Science.
Dang, this idea struck me once, and I had a good one. I cannot remember for the life of me. They Live. I would like to see a reboot.
That's a good one. They Live. And come on, Don, give us one. Give us some.
I got you.
Okay.
Iron Eagle.
Yes.
You like that?
I would watch that.
Get some F-22s, F-35s in there.
There you go. All right.
Is Louis Gossett Jr. still alive?
Yes, he's on Watchmen.
Nice.
All right. Which one's going to get a reboot? I mean, they're rebooting, rebooting. They're doing a 40-year-old sequel to Top Gun, so why not Iron Eagle?
Did you see the trailer for that? It's the same damn movie.
I know.
It really is. Like, those have to be flashbacks. I don't know.
Well, the whole movie's a flashback.
That's the whole thing. That's the whole thing with doing a sequel that far apart. The original audience is going to see it for nostalgia, and the new audience didn't see the original, so it's all new to them.
Yeah, I got another one, by the way. They really need to do this, especially since they screwed up the first time they did it. Highlander.
Oh, God. No, that would be great. A Highlander reboot? Yes, that's something. That's what I was trying to think of. I've actually had this conversation. That is a movie that could actually be rebooted and be pretty good.
And be fucking awesome. I'm sorry, I'm supposed to cuss. I'm sorry.
No, it's fine.
Are marked clean. Yes, but that's one I think about all the time. How, like, the original, there's not much nostalgia for it because the timeline just got so messed up. And then you're like, how can there only be one? And then there'd be like 10 movies. Like, I get that. So if they just start fresh.
Alien Highlanders, where they lost me. Highlanders from other planets.
Well, yeah, because that's where, and then they came out the Renegade version of that movie. Like, that's where it really, exactly, the second movie, they just
completely falls apart.
Yeah.
No, I would love a Highlander movie. I was watching Outlander with my wife because that's the stuff you do when you're married.
I understand.
And then I'm like, and she's like, oh, so you like this stuff? It's Celtic and it's Scotland and da-da-da. And I kept watching, like, I said, it'd be better if this guy had a giant sword and cut his head off.
Yep.
I felt like my problem with Outlander is that it's not Highlander.
Exactly.
You know what make it even better? If a Scottishman played a Spaniard.
Yeah, exactly.
He was actually an Egyptian.
Yeah.
Oh, that's right. But in a Spanish outfit.
But with an accent that only he has. No Scotsman on the planet has Sean Connery's accent but Sean Connery.
All right, there we go.
I love that movie.
All right, we got our poll for the week. And I already know your guys' answer. So
yeah, I guess so.
Cool. So, as we wrap it up this week, do you guys have any recommendations for our audience?
I guess I will recommend you start checking out the X-Men stuff if what I was talking about interests you and you're interested in islands procreating and reviving mutants that didn't used to be here and in the Golden Girls beating up the X-Men. Check it out.
John's not here, so I'm going to say this because he would fight me, but he's wrong. Teen Titans Go is hilarious. Like, if you've never watched it, a lot of the stuff is on YouTube. Just sit down and watch it with a child because that's what makes it all the better. Like, it's very much like a Looney Tunes in that, like, the show's meant for kids, but there's a lot of jokes that are going to go over their head and appeal to their parents. It's fantastic.
No, yeah, we've had this conversation when it first came out, which was, almost 10 years ago, I think, and maybe 7 years ago. And I remember watching it with my son, and he laughed and enjoyed it, and I'm like, now I get it. It's for him. Right. It's not for me.
Right.
So,
I think that's sometimes us nerds miss that. It's like, not everything they put out is meant for you to like.
Right. Right. And it's meant to get him interested in that world, get kids interested in that world so they'll go read the comics and watch the movies and buy the toys and, and
Superhero Squad is like that for the Marvel.
Superhero Squad's great too.
Yep.
He loves those things.
All right. Well, I am going to recommend, it premiered after the Super Bowl, but everyone should be checking out the new season of The Masked Singer, one of my favorite shows. I know that's an odd thing to say. It was one of my wife's favorite shows. We would watch together all the time. So
everyone else in the house is hooked on it, but me. I'm just not a music guy.
But it's so fun to try to figure out who the people are. That's the
No, yeah, I get roped into it, and you're right. You're exactly right. That part is like,
Yeah. So check it out. They premiered after the Super Bowl. I won't. If you've seen it already, fine. But I'm not going to spoil who was kicked off. Who the first singer was that was kicked off. But on that note, I think that's it for the week, boys and girls. But check it out anyway. That's what I was trying to say. Phew, I lost my train of thought. Check out The Masked Singer. I think if you haven't watched it, you'll enjoy it. On that note, that's where we'll put a pin in for this week, boys and girls. So as always, thanks for listening. Don't let your cape get caught in the door. Have a good week.
That's the longest episode we've done in a long time. That was fun.